Hi everybody, Steve Cribbers here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to take a look at how we use the 15-minute trend to gauge the larger degree support and resistance areas, or I should say the 15-minute charts, to gauge the larger degree support and resistance areas. Therefore we can then decide what the larger 15-minute trend actually is. So there's a couple of good examples yesterday on the ESE minis. So let's start with the 15-minute charts. This is a 15-minute chart of the YM, the mini Dow. Nice TS3 cell setup there, by the way. But what I'm going to look at here is, if I go back before the day opened, I'm going to look at areas of support using the DP. Here we looked at like we had a move up into the high. We had an ABC correction down here, so this was the move up into the high. So that is why I'm doing the DP off this low here. And as you can see, it actually puts the decision point support on the chart there for you in advance. That's important, it's in advance. So if we go forward, can we see how that the market declined sharply, made a down gap, but look what happened. It went into this support zone and then found support and then rallied up. So the point being is this was 15-minute support that we had on the market, on the chart before the market even opened, and that basically nailed the low, and then from there on in the rest of the day the larger degree trend was up, and that's the important point. If I look at the other markets, the Russell index was not quite as clear. If I put the DP on from that same pivot low there, it was almost at the support but not quite. The ES, let's have a look at the ES. Again, here's our ABC correction, here's our rally up, and in fact actually if I put the Elliott wave 5 on, you can see a 5-wave sequence. So I'm going back to this important pivot here, which was the start of the wave 5 sequence, and just look what happened on the ES. Again, we had a gap down, but look at this. The market found support at our 15-minute DP and then rallied for the rest of the day. And that is the important point. What I'm trying to stress in this video is the 15-minute chart gave you support levels that are on the chart before the market even got there. So when the market goes down and touches them, you can then use that to look at your 3-minute charts. In this case, we'll see in a minute that because we're at 15-minute support, the trend had turned up, therefore we'd want to be looking for buy setups rather than sell setups. And the NQ was not quite as clear, because we weren't particularly at support if I put that DP level off there. So here you can see we had on the 15-minute charts, particularly the ES and the YM were both at 15-minute DP support. The market rallied up off that support, so the larger degree trend was up during the day off that support. Can you all see that? There's the ES support, large degree trend was up. Let's now go down to the 3-minute charts. This is the Russell index. We didn't get great support on the Russell index, so I'll ignore that. The ones I want to look at are where we had the best 15-minute support. So for this, do you see how we had an STF is red, so standard traders would be avoiding this buy setup, taking this sell setup. This sell setup would have actually, if I get the mouse click right, would have actually produced a -1R loss, and then come back in here. And this trade here, because the STF was black, any kind of trader could have taken that, advanced as well as new, and that would have been a nice plus 4.3R. So even standard traders would have had a -1, then plus 4.3, which is okay. But let's see the difference of knowing that this low here was at 15-minute support. That means you'd be looking for buy setups during the day and ignoring this sell. So even with a -1R there, you'd have had a buy setup here. The market would have come up nicely into this first level here for plus 2.6R. So I'll just write that down. So it'd be plus 2.6 -1 from that first loss, and then you'll ignore that TS3 sell because the large degree trend was up. You'd then be having this TS4 buy off this level into the first target, which was here. The STF was weak at that time, therefore plus 4.3. So if I add that lot up, so 4.3 plus 2.6 minus 1 equals 5.9 5.9R or almost 6R profit. Now that is a really good result. Let's have a look at the NQ. We won't particularly look at, even though for an advanced trade setup I did like the look of this TS1 buy into the typical wave 3 WPT for a Holy Grail setup, but that's something I might look at in today's advanced training webinar for customers only. But for everybody else, let's go back at look at the YM, because you remember the YM was also at good support. So here we had a first attempt at the low, so that would have been a -1R loss. Our second attempt here was an automatic DP buy setup. Remember, because we're against the STF, it wouldn't be a standard trade, but because I've already shown that we're at 15-minute support, do you remember that? If I go back to the YM, we're at 15-minute support. This is when it's okay to take DP trades when the STF is in the wrong direction, if you're at larger degree support. And this is a great example of it. So at 15-minute support, 3-minute chart, back to the YM, take the automatic DP buy, come into the first target. Even at the first target there, it would have been 4.6R. STF was actually gone strong in the meantime, so you could have used the ATR stop to squeeze a little bit more out. But the point being is that you could take this DP long because the large degree trend was up. So you'd have had -1 plus 4.6, -1 plus 4.6. You probably wouldn't have considered this DP sell, even though it's red STF. So even if you did, standard traders could have had another 2.4 out of that. But because the large degree trend was up, the trade that would be the best one to take would be this TS4 buy here. Again, a black STF, so there's no problems at all. But the point I'm making is that these buys and this buy were in the direction of the large degree trend. The result of this one here at the first target, STF is weak, plus 5.4. So if I add 5.4 plus 4.6 minus 1, that equals plus 9R. So an absolutely amazing day on the 3-minute YM yesterday, but the whole reason of why it was so good and why you had confidence to get into these long trades was because of the position of the 15-minute chart. So I'll just review this so you're quite clear about this. We put the 15-minute DPs on the chart in advance. They're there ready for you. So you know as the markets get into these levels, it's the larger degree support zone. So you're at this large degree support zone, therefore you anticipate the market is going to go up. So on the 15-minute chart, you anticipate a rally. Therefore, when you come down onto the 3-minute chart, you then want to look to bias your trades to be in the direction of that large degree rally and not against it. So when you get, perhaps if I go back to the ES, so when you get sell signals, even though they're with the STF, you know on the 15-minute chart the trend's up. So this is why we look to, in this case, we'd have looked to take the buy setups and ignore the sell setups. And as we'd already seen, that would have given some great trades on the ES, and on the YM it would have allowed you to, well, take this trade here anyway, but it would also have allowed you to take this DP up into here as well. So hopefully this has been a good video to show how we use the larger degree trend, in other words the 15-minute charts, with our DPs on that to gauge larger degree support and resistance to then anticipate the 15-minute trend, and that helps us then orientate our trades in that direction on the 3-minute charts. But the key is, because the 15-minute DPs are leading indicators, in other words they're on the charts in advance, you can be ready and prepared for which way you want to orient your trades on the shorter term 3 and 5-minute charts as they unfold.